about it and the more we talk about it, the better people understand that this is just like the prohibition of alcohol. How does having a president work that would veto all kinds of stuff? I would have vetoed the Patriot Act. I would have never established the Department of Homeland Security, and I would have never then established the TSA. As President of the United States, I would have vetoed the National Defense Authorization Act, allowing for arrest and detainment of you and I as U.S. citizens without being charged. This is why we fought wars in this country. I am the only candidate advocating a balanced budget now. If we don't balance the budget now, we are going to find ourselves in a monetary collapse. What's a monetary collapse? Very simply, it's when the dollars that we have don't buy a thing because of the accompanying inflation that goes along with borrowing and printing money to the tune of 43 cents out of every dollar that we spend. Balancing the federal budget now means taking on the entitlements. Medicaid, Medicare. It means taking on military spending, taking military spending back to 2003 spending levels, believing the biggest threat to our national security is the fact that we borrow and print money to the tune of 43 cents out of every dollar that we're spending. I am the only candidate that would abolish the Federal Reserve if Congress would. Treasury prints money, Federal Reserve gives the money to the bank, gives the money to the banks at 0%, and the banks loan it out to you or I. No, they buy treasuries in a closed loop. It's like Bernie Madoff with a printing machine. It is an inside game. Audit of the Federal Reserve shining light on this inside game. Look, we're all taking it on the chin. We're all taking it on the chin in the name of what? So I'm the only candidate that would sign legislation repealing legal tender laws allowing for competing currencies in this country. So a word about my opponents. Mitt Romney. I guess he's supposed to be a smart guy, but he says a couple of things. One thing he says is that it's a no-brainer to build a fence across the border. You are looking at someone here who has not one molecule of brain based on that statement. That would be a ridiculous thing to do, would be to build a fence across the border. Mitt Romney says that we should balance the federal budget, but that we should hold Medicare intact and that we should increase our spending for defense. We all finished the second grade, and there was a mathematics competency that went along with graduating from the second grade. It doesn't add up, and this is what we're supposed to believe in. We're having a debate in this country right now over who's going to spend more money, the Democrats or the Republicans, on Medicare when we have to cut Medicare spending. We have to. And yet the discussion is who's going to spend more money. The alternative is no health care for those over 65. The alternative, Medicaid, is no health care for those that are poor. Barack Obama, I have to tell you, when it comes to his violin and the words that come out of his violin, it is music. Everything that he says, I think, is terrific. When he ran for election, when he talked about gay issues, I thought, we're going to move ahead in this area. When he talked about our military interventions and ending this state of constant war, I really believed him. And when he talked about the drug war, and when he made the explicit promise to not raid medical marijuana facilities with federal government money in states where legislatures or citizens voted to implement these programs, and right now flying in the face of that by raiding medical marijuana facilities in Colorado and California, nothing matches up with the words. The words are terrific. The words are terrific, but the reality behind them are absolutely non-existent. I don't think we could be at more of a crossroads in this country right now. The notion of wasted vote. What is a more wasted vote than voting for somebody that you don't believe in? Vote for who you believe in. That's how we're going to change things in this country. And right now, I am polling at 6% nationally. Let me ask you this question. Are you hearing my name 6 times every time you're hearing Obama or Romney's name 100 times? I suggest to you, you're not hearing my name 1 time for every 5,000 times you hear Romney or Obama. So that's the good news, bad news about all this. The good news is that Americans want change. We all understand that we have to engage in this process of mutual sacrifice, or we're going to find ourselves with nothing. I want to thank all of you for being here today. We are doing a 40 college and university tour. I'm doing 20. Judge Jim Gray is doing 20. So from here, I'm headed to San Francisco this evening. I want to apologize in advance for heading back out to the airport, but we have a great group of speakers that follow me. And lastly, let me just pose this question to you. What if everybody here and more wastes their vote on Gary Johnson? I will be the next president of the United States, and I pledge to you that we will make a difference in this country, that we will take on the issues that face this country and do it in a way that we all mutually sacrifice to achieve that. Crony capitalism is alive and well in this country. Both parties have their hands out to sell loopholes, and individuals, groups, and corporations pay for those loopholes. I am the only candidate that is promising to advocate on the part of eliminating the income tax, corporate tax, abolishing the IRS, and replacing all of that with one federal consumption tax that I'm going to argue at its root will be much, much, much better than what we currently have. I think it's the answer when it comes to American exports, that we're going to bleed all existing non-transparent tax out of all goods and services. It's the answer to making our goods and services 23% more competitive when it comes to export. It's the answer when it comes to China. It's really the answer when it comes to jobs, because in a zero corporate tax rate environment, if the private sector doesn't create tens of millions of jobs, I don't know what it's going to take to create tens of millions of jobs. And this is kicking crony capitalism in the rear end, because there'll be no more tax deductions. Issuing pink slips. Adopt the fair tax. We're talking about pink slips to half of Washington lobbyists, because that's why they're there. So to finish, my request, waste your vote. Waste your vote. Vote for me as President of the United States, and I will be President of the United States. And I guarantee you I will wake up every single morning and doggedly pursue everything it is here that I am talking about. Thank you very, very much.